YouTube? My name is LB Ninja 7, your resident Mistweaver monk. And guys, today I have kind of a data-driven video. I'm going to be diving into some numbers that I've just been noticing, and we're going to be talking about the decline of Mistweaver. Not really from the ranks. I mean, Mistweaver still can pump. It can still be very fun. It can still do a lot of damage, a lot of healing. But what's declining is just the player base. And I, as a content creator, a very small content creator at that, I've kind of noticed that. I mean, I'm sure most content creators see some normal players kind of come and go and swap to other classes. But I feel it's hit Mistweaver very hard recently. And let's kind of dive into that and just dive into the numbers. So I have just a couple tabs, which I just closed one. So give me a second. So you guys can probably tell I have quite a couple of tabs open, and we're just going to kind of talk through some of these things that I've noticed. So one thing that I like to look at is just how many of each class has killed each boss. And one thing that alarmed me when looking at some of the people that have killed the boss that play Mistweaver is it's not that many. So if we look at the first boss and the last boss, those are generally pretty good indicators of how many people are actually playing the class and how many people are sticking to the class. And as we see on the first boss, 1,392 kills have been logged as Mistweaver, which at first it doesn't really, you don't really know much just going off of that number until you look at the other classes. So if we look at, what is this, Resto Druid, then the first boss has almost 3 times that. And then we look at Resto Shaman, we got almost 3 times that. And then you guys can kind of see a trend. We are in Holy Priest territory, which you guys are kind of going to be blown away, almost 4 times that. So you guys can see we don't have that many people at least killing the first boss. And that's just like our baseline player base that you can look at. But now let's look at the last boss for each class. So there are 6 Mistweavers that have logged a kill. Now, obviously, there are more that don't log, but for that to be only 6 at this point, as you can see, it is June 12th. It's pretty alarming. And then we look at Resto Druid, and the numbers are still pretty low, but just better. I mean, 40. That's a big rate. So if we look at, they almost had 3 times as many on the first boss, and then now on the last boss, they have, what is that? At least 6 times as many people that are logging this boss, and it just shows that Mistweavers aren't. The player base is dying out. It means that less people are sticking to it enough to get to the final boss. Less guilds are bringing their Mistweaver monks to the kills and are kind of replacing them with other classes, but also people are swapping off of Mistweavers to play something more viable. And then we might as well look at the priest numbers. They are unreal, and this is just Holy Priest, but the Disc Priest numbers aren't too far off because those players probably parses both. And as you can see, 117. So just like almost 20 times as many parses on Priest than there are on Mistweaver. So that's just raid. And that's just like a quick number to look at. Obviously, I'm looking at like some of the top players just because I know they've killed all the bosses. But it's just something to look at. Like, I mean, there just are less Mistweaver players. And we'll get into why in a few minutes. Let me close out of all these tabs. I've made that point, and this is Paladin. I do want to actually talk about Paladin too, kind of show their numbers relative to ours. So just kind of up there toward Resto Druid's numbers, and then on Scale Commander, yeah, up there beyond Resto Druid's numbers. So a lot more people are swapping to Paladin. That's a big thing. So and let me kind of dive into that, why I think people are swapping to Paladin. Well, they had less people on the first boss than Resto Druid, and then more people on the last boss than Resto Druid. So more people are swapping to that Holy Paladin class. And I think that when people play Holy Paladin, it shouldn't affect Mistweaver numbers. Like, yeah, we are the 2 melee healing specs, but we can have a lot of Mistweaver players and we can have a lot of Holy Paladin players. If there are a lot of Holy Paladin players, there shouldn't be a small amount of Mistweaver players. I don't think these 2 things should relate as much. But when 2 of the core mechanics currently are so similar, it is a big issue because people are just going to play the one that's better. And once again, we will get into that. So now let's look at the Mythic Plus rankings. So this is the current one. So season 1 of Dragonflight, I think. So I didn't go season 2 since it's still, the numbers are still kind of new. But as you see, 92,000 Mistweaver monks related to almost half the Holy Priests, which Holy Priests were ranked below us on like every tier list. And then even lower than Disc Priest. I mean, we're just consistently the lowest, but as you know, these 2 classes kind of dominated the Mythic Plus scene, but then still below Holy Paladins. And then if we look even further back, Shadowlands Season 2, it looks a little bit better for us. We got 9.8% versus our 7.4%. So a lot more people were playing Mistweaver monks that were healing keys, but still, it's just like we weren't in the meta, and that's fine. It's fine to have a class not in the meta, but when the bottom of the barrel stays the bottom of the barrel, this happens, and that number is going to continue to decrease. So now let's look at Shadowlands Seasons 4. So between these two times, and that is 9.4. So it stayed pretty steady, but it just severely dropped off when you come into Dragonflight, which I know 9.4 to 7.4 is only 2%, but 2% goes a long way when the population's so small. So now let's get into what this video is kind of mostly about, and you can call it a rant. I don't want to call it a rant because I think that the Holy Paladin changes were good. I think they were good changes in the right direction because it is awesome. I mean, when you play your Holy Paladin now, I've actually enjoyed playing Holy Paladin because of Avenging Crusader. So you become the Ultimate Crusader of Light for 12 seconds, and your 2 damaging buttons cool down faster and heal up to 5 injured allies for 500% of the damage done, split evenly among them. So yeah, if you play Mistweaver Monk, you know that they have kind of corrected the wording of Ancient Teachings recently to where instead of healing one person, it'll heal everyone, split whoever needs the healing. This has that same corrected wording, but what strikes me as kind of ridiculous is that 500% of the damage done. So Ancient Teachings heals for 150% of the damage done, split evenly among 5 people. This heals for 500%. That number is ridiculous, and these abilities hit pretty hard, relatively. I mean, this is just, it's just so much stronger than what Mistweavers have currently. If you're gonna play Mistweaver, the argument could be made, why not just swap to Holy Paladin? If you enjoy that Ancient Teachings playstyle, Avenging Crusader feels like that, but a little stronger right now. So why wouldn't you swap to that? And that's kind of an issue. You kind of took Mistweaver's identity away from them because you nerfed Ancient Teachings, taking it from 250% of the damage down to 150% of the damage. So a big nerf. And then you also just gave it to another class, but stronger. And then the thing about the splitting up the healing is it feels impactful when it's a big heal on everyone still. So when you hit a button and you see the health bars move and it feels impactful, that's good. But when you hit a button and that used to make 1 health bar jump and it barely makes 5 health bars move at all, that feels pretty bad. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still fine. It still does the numbers. It just does not have that oomph that it used to have back in Shadowlands, back when you would Rising Sun Kick, take your tank's health bar from 10% to 100%. And that's a little dramatic, but still, it lacks that punch, whereas Paladin packs that punch. So this is just something that I have noticed, just a trend, and I just think if you want more people to play Mistweaver, if you want this class, this spec to survive longer than a couple more tiers, if you want it to last indefinitely like your other classes, then you're going to have to kind of give them their identity back. And I think buffing Ancient Teachings is a good thing. I think our healing is kind of too much in our Vivify and in our casts that it's really taking away from our punching, kicking, our melee identity, and it makes it feel like we're playing a ranged spec just in melee, which just feels awful because you still have to dodge all the melee mechanics while also doing all the ranged healing. So it feels kind of bad right now. I'll be honest, I haven't had as much fun playing Mistweaver as I have in the past, which I hate to say that because I know that you guys love Mistweaver, at least most of you do. But I do think that there are some things that Blizzard could change and just some slight adjustments. Now, I know that they can't come immediately. The 10.1.5 patch notes have already been released, no changes to Monk. But I do think in the future, maybe consider a revert or another rework back into that more melee-focused punch and kick play style to make us incentivized to play Ancient Teachings in Raid, because that is kind of our identity. This Avenging Crusader is awesome, and I love it for Paladins. I'm very jealous. I wish that I had just leveled up my Paladin this tier because this looks fun. This reminds me of how it felt in Shadowlands to just punch something and watch a health bar go up. Now, I do quickly want to show you guys a quick clip. All right, so I want to show you this quick clip from a couple years, maybe like a year ago, probably actually at this point, where I was playing the buffed, the old 250% ancient teachings, and just watch how impactful Rising Sun Kick was. So watch the Paladin's health bar. This is where the healing goes, and I'm gonna click right once I click play. It's gonna Rising Sun Kick. Boom. See, I mean that's just like so much healing. And then it just makes it more rewarding when your Rising Sun Kick gets reset by Blackout Kick. Let's watch that one more time. And boom, big heal. Now, just imagine if that was how it felt. I mean, it felt great, and that's kind of what made me and a lot of my supporters, a lot of you guys fall in love with Mistweaver, because I've heard you guys say it. You guys miss old ancient teachings. A lot of people do not like this Yulon playstyle as much as it pumps healing. That's only half the battle. It's okay to be at the top, but when you're not having fun with it, it kind of does bring things down. So I really hope that some kind of WoW dev sees this and just kind of hears us out, because I feel like I'm not alone in this. I feel like a lot of us kind of missed that whole the whole Ancient Teachings playstyle, especially in Raid. It was a lot of fun, and it's what made me fall in love with Monk. So let me know what you guys think. This could just be, I could be completely alone in this, and that could be fine. I would be totally okay with that, and I could just accept that and just, I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and make sure you guys like the video if you liked it. And if you did not like this video, hit dislike. It actually does help me know what you guys like to see in these kind of discussion, ranty style videos. It's nice to see just where they lie with you guys, and I really appreciate all the support and feedback that you guys give me. So feel free to give all that down below in the comments and clicking like. Now, if you like Mistweaver content and healer content in general, I have a lot coming your way, so make sure you guys hit subscribe if you want to see more of that. And if you made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad I didn't talk your ears off, but I really appreciate all the support that you guys give me. So that's going to do it for this video. Once again, let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.